It's your coffee, man. That's.
You
Oh,
made it. It's my tea.
Oh, we're live.
hello.
Oh, God.
Welcome to RSG Podcast, episode 100, milestone episode.
I think we just screwed up our string of perfect beginnings.
Right.
Like,
Well,
with that.
Man.
We can blame it on Captain Entitled, who is our guest for today.
And I would like to say that I'm very understanding that you're glad that I'm here. So thank me for. Thanks.
Yeah, that's how it be.
Yeah.
That is exactly how it be.
We have Mr. Nathan Connor, who's here.
Hello.
Mr. Roby Watson.
Hello.
And Mr. Captain Entitled, who you already met, who you should be thankful you met. Myself, Ryan Estep. And this episode is going to be, I don't know, pretty interesting. We got some stuff to talk about. Mostly, we're going to be talking about the new movie Ex Machina. Connor and Roby, they went to go check it out. Get the skinny on that. We're going to talk about Steam and the whole mod issue that they're having, which Captain Entitled was pretty nice enough to join us for that discussion. Let's see, what else we got? We're talking about Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront. There's rumors that it's not going to be as good as we expected. Is that right?
Well, it's not going to have as many features. And I think that's, for the most part, like, confirmed, but whether or not those features actually meant anything important is a different discussion.
Yeah. New Wings in Hearthstone dropped, so we're going to have insight on that from people who actually play Hearthstone on this channel. So. And, we'll go ahead and get started. What do you guys want to start with first? You want to talk about Steam? You want to talk about Hearthstone? Anything special in the news?
Let's do Hearthstone, I think, real quick, because it's not long.
Okay.
Yeah, the new wing dropped, and it is fantastic. It's probably my favorite wing so far.
Ooh.
It's pretty fun, actually.
It's really fun. 4 bosses instead of 3, so you got 1 extra boss in there, and the mechanics are really interesting for the bosses. So, and the card rewards are fantastic. They're really good this week.
Yeah,
but
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
What about them makes them really good? Like, what do they do?
Well, what you end up having is you have the Hungry Dragon, which everybody looks forward to. It's basically a 5/6 creature for 4 mana, which is ridiculous.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good. The downside is he summons a unit for your, like, a random 2-cost unit for, is it 1 cost or 2
It's
cost?
1 cost.
One
It's a random
cost,
1 cost unit.
1 cost unit for your opponent, which kind of sucks, but it's not that big a deal for the most part. So yeah, it's a really good mid-range or tempo card. Then there's also the Flame Waker for the Mage class, which is just more random damage for, like, free. It basically, anytime you cast a spell, it shoots 2 extra damage off randomly to something.
Wow. I think. I don't know too much about it.
It's anytime you're getting free damage for doing something else, it's for the best.
Okay.
Especially when you're a mage, so the spell that you're using is doing damage. You basically just get to add 2 damage to it.
Nice.
What would be a fireball, which is 4 mana for 6 damage, which isn't too bad, becomes 4 mana for 8 damage, and that's fantastic. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It adds up pretty quick, and like I said, it's just any more free damage you get is always a good thing. It's all about value. Value.
But and then there's Chromagus, which is the legendary.
Nice.
And he's a pretty ridiculous card in reality. Like, I watched a few videos of people playing with Chromagus, and he can swing a game pretty fast. Basically.
I was just gonna say, I remember face rolling on that 40-man raid, learning that fight. Chromagus. Ugh.
Chromagus was a pain.
Dude, yeah. Did you bring your sands? Huh? No, you didn't? Go sit it out. Go sit out. You had all week. You didn't bring any sands.
But the mechanics for Chromagus, the boss, are actually pretty fun. What he does is he just puts a card in your hand that is, if you hold that card in your hand, it gives him some kind of a bonus. It might, like, if you hold the card in your hand at the beginning of your turn, it can heal him for 6. Or at the beginning of your turn, it deals 3 damage to you. so you have to use your mana, use your own resources just to get these cards out of your hand.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting mechanic, really.
Yeah, it is a really good mechanic. It's hard. Chromagus Heroic is really difficult. Really difficult, but it took me like 2 days to beat him. It's because I suck at the game. But
clearly.
Yeah, clearly.
No one's arguing that point.
Yep.
No one.
But yeah, the card itself that you get is when he's on the board at the beginning. Anytime you draw a card, you draw 2 of that card.
Yeah.
So it's not drawing. Like you draw a card and then you get a copy of it. That is ridiculous for control decks. Watched a couple
It's
games.
ridiculous for any deck, really. Like,
Yeah.
anytime I'm getting 2 of whatever instead of 1, that's double the value.
True enough. I think it is pretty ridiculous. It doesn't fit in some decks because of how expensive he is. He is a 8 cost, I believe. So, he's fairly expensive. Like, it takes some setup to get him going correctly. Like, playing him raw on the board, a lot of times you're not going to see him live beyond the turn that you put. So you have to have something set up where you're gonna draw cards the same turn you put him out, and that can be difficult to set up sometimes.
Okay.
That's one of my biggest complaints about Hearthstone is that like the meta seems so intent on being so quick, but at the same time, like all of the cards are like, well, next turn you get this, or if he's around next turn when you have extra mana to do this, then it's useful. So they have a lot of like combo cards. You basically have to wait till you have max mana to use effectively to do anything because they're not going to be around next turn. So I don't know. It seems to like go against itself a lot of times and not make a lot of sense.
Well, it's a matter of like knowing when to drop that creature or being able to have him protected when you drop him and things like that. So it is difficult, but I don't know. It kind of creates it so because honestly those cards would be ridiculously OP otherwise. They would be broken. So,
Granted.
Anyway, but that's about it for the Hearthstone. Nefarian was the last boss. He's fun too, but like. Yeah, as far as Hearthstone is concerned, the new wing dropped. It's really fun, and it's very challenging, especially the heroics. Definitely check it out. And I think next week is the last dungeon or the last wing, so we'll have more for you then. And then maybe after that, a couple weeks after that, we'll report on how it's changed the meta, which I think is already changing. But
bro, the meta, gosh,
the meta.
I know how to say meta right.
He doesn't know.
I have no idea.
Oh, God. No, I say meta, too. It's the way to say it. Weird people say meta. They're wrong. These people are not me. So, let's talk real quick then about Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Which we went to see last night.
Which I did not.
Yeah, we know.
I wanted to.
I'm sure you just couldn't make it happen, right? Mm-hmm. I'm positive.
Something like real life friends and being there for them and just silliness.
What, we're not his real life friends? That hurts. That hurts, bro.
You said it.
That hurts.
Wait a minute.
Are you talking about me?
You can.
I'm still here. I'm still here.
Right.
I still demand to be heard.
Just sit back and listen to the cast for free, yeah.
Look. I'll be right back. I have to go get some free money.
Free money. Okay. So, what's the X Machina? And it was actually really good.
I loved it.
I have a couple of nitpicky things like I always do, because that's what I do. But I don't care if it takes 1 to 3 minutes to spin up their current helicopters.
No. Let me reiterate that it's less than a minute in most cases. You were just plain wrong by like 15 full minutes.
Still not worth the time and effort to shut it down and spin it back up.
Don't. It's less than a minute. It's like 30 seconds for most of them. Don't tell me it's not worth the time.
Then why wouldn't he have shut it down when he was dropping him off?
Okay,
yeah,
let's go back.
Let's elaborate.
Let's elaborate on the situation.
So the movie begins. Dude wins a contest to go hang out with like the owner of the company. He works at like a Google essentially, for all intents and purposes. And the crazy the crazy guy who started Google or whatever lives in the woods by himself and does crazy work, and he won a contest to go hang out with him for a week.
That's kind of cool.
And in reality, it wasn't a contest. This guy set it up to get this guy in particular because he wanted him to do a Turing test on his new AI, which he has put into a female-shaped robot.
Mm.
Then weird shit ensues. So as not to be too spoilery for the movie for you, weird shit ensues, and in the end, someone else leaves the compound, and is picked up by by the same helicopter at the end, and it just, for me, that ruined the movie didn't ruin the movie for me, but it took me right out of the, because up until then, like, the ending was really great. They did an excellent job building the suspense and getting you fully involved in it and everything. And when the helicopter shows up, it just kind of took me out of the world for a moment, and it made me angry.
The reason why is because you have to walk from the location of the house to this open field where the helicopter lands.
Right.
Now, the helicopter flies over, the person walks over to the helicopter. Too late. Walks over to the helicopter, but the helicopter blades have spun down and have completely stopped. And for whatever reason, Roby has it in his silly little mind that it takes 15 minutes to he's just like, here's some facts that I don't actually know. It takes 15 minutes to spin up helicopter blades when it takes like 30 seconds in reality. He's like, why?
Modern
answers. I mean, what make and model of the helicopter is it?
Outdated. My information is outdated. Modern helicopters are much faster.
What are you talking about? Like the Da Vinci model? Like,
yes.
Get out of here.
Those are the ones I'm talking about.
Point is, it's the most nitpicky of nitpicky things.
No, it's really not.
It really is.
Because
you were wrong.
Than that.
You were
wrong. Well, it didn't make any sense anyway for him to have stopped the helicopter and gotten out or whatever. It didn't appear that it was that far. Now, yes, I didn't know exactly how far it was, but it didn't appear to be that far.
Right, because movies never warp time or anything like that, right?
That's true. They don't.
Okay. Anyway,
never at any time do they do that. Time is always perfectly linear in movies.
Let's get on to the actual review of Xbox now.
Well, before you guys get too far, I want to point out that this movie has already been made. It's called The Machine. And this is obvious. This is an obvious, just greedy power grab, much as our segue about Steam mods.
Nice.
We haven't even gotten to our segue yet.
Well, that's why I'm here, so good part of the video.
Okay.
Hey, look, it's not all about you, okay?
Oh, I just believe that's the sun orbits around me as well as the Earth and the Moon, so it's kind of who I am.
Clearly, you're wrong, Ruby. Clearly, you're wrong.
Apparently, I am.
Yeah, but in our trip around you, we're gonna go to the actual review of Ex Machina. But as a
segue
movie,
destroyed.
Yeah, sorry, man, we didn't actually get to review it. We got to review it.
Okay, let's hear it, and I'll give you my review of The Machine.
Okay.
The Machine.
Okay, it was actually really fantastic. They had really good camera shots in there that really did some pretty good foreshadowing in reality, but you didn't realize it till the end. They had, I would say, one of the most interesting... first of all, I'm a big geek for AI. Huge nerd for that stuff in general. So I think it was one of the more interesting stories as far as that's concerned. AI and how they developed the AI and how the AI actually acted was really, really interesting. And this movie portends the inevitable coming of our robot overlords.
So was this more of a Matrix type AI takeover, or was it more of a her?
It was like a mixture of the two.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
It really was. It was an excellent mixture of the two. I think you should definitely watch it, Ryan.
I will. I'll check it out.
It's a thriller, to be sure. And they did an excellent job with the atmosphere and creating that things are just a little bit off around here, but
something's not
he
right.
feels safe enough that he doesn't just freak out and leave immediately or whatever.
Can he, though? He's kind of in the woods, right? Like, that's...
He could always make demands to leave, I suppose, and then we could push the whole, am I a prisoner or not thing to the front.
Well, that was never the issue, though, in the movie. It was never about him going, "Oh, I'm stuck." It wasn't a suspense thriller, in the sense that there wasn't a lot of suspense in the movie. In reality, I don't feel like it was mostly just an intellectual thriller. I'm not even sure what you would call it. Intellectual is like honestly too far. I wouldn't even say that, but
it's not a smart movie.
It is. It's just not that. It's not like all sciencey and.
Okay.
Yeah. So they do a good job though with the science, like making it understandable enough to you, the viewer, as they don't go into too much detail so that you feel like you're overwhelmed, but they appeal to like the general understanding of what this sort of science would be like, and use a couple of the right words in the right places, and just sell you on a wholesale.
Did they write terabytes of code in a night?
No, they did not.
Okay. Well, then clearly it's not real.
Right.
But I don't want to spoil it since you haven't seen it, Ryan. Otherwise, I would. But I think it's something you definitely want to see. It's not something you want to have spoiled necessarily.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah. And what was your review about there, Captain?
Oh, finally.
Yes. What do you tell us about the machine?
Are we ready for the good part of the show? Thank you for being here, Mr. Entitled. I did not see the movie, but as an entitled person, I am entitled to give an opinion. I feel that I have the right.
How American?
So I would say that movie is awesome, and that you should see it. And it is a direct copy of The Machine, even though I have not seen the movie. That's my opinion.
But you have seen The Machine, huh?
I have.
Well, as it turns out, I have also seen The Machine.
Uh-oh.
Now, are we talking Jason Statham Machine, or are we
Yeah.
talking Christian Bale Machine?
And just to clarify,
Christian Bale is the machinist.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. Sit back down.
Okay, so here's Mr. Entitlement. It's arch nemesis. People who are actually informed. So
Why don't you tell me? Tell me about The Machine, Mr. Entitled. Tell me.
Attractive woman, shaped robot, killing things, and the thing I like the best is that it portrays our future overlords as either a child or as a ruthless killing machine. There's not really much in between. So I give that movie a two-dimensional 2 thumbs up.
Okay.
And that's it. I'm a collection of sound bites and one-liners. I don't actually have independent thought. I just collect it.
Right. Oh my god. So yeah, this movie not like The Machine. Similar concepts, but different execution entirely.
So you would say definitely you would watch Ex Machina over The Machine.
Yes.
Okay.
But
Good.
I prefer the subtleness of Ex Machina over The Machine, where just like she just kills people. It's like, nah, I've seen machines kill people before.
Matrix.
Right.
Terminator.
Yeah.
We've seen that movie before, so you would definitely recommend Ex Machina then. Oh, good.
I would recommend Ex Machina strongly, even though I've seen both The Machine and Ex Machina. The Machine, by the way, on Netflix still. Check it out. It's a decent movie.
All right.
It's not at all unentertaining. So.
Blade Runner. Sorry, I was late with that. Sorry.
Blade. Oh, now that is a great robot film.
They managed to not go Blade Runner in Ex Machina.
I thought they were gonna go Blade Runner. So that was actually one of the high points that they didn't go Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which you'll understand once you actually watch it.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they went out of their way to make you think they were gonna go Blade Runner, and then they didn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, so okay. What was the next thing we have on our agenda there, Ryan?
Doom.
Oh gosh.
No, let's not do that.
Oh man. That means
do what?
It means he's
What?
the
Have a civilized discussion on why Steam is wrong, that I deserve free things. That's part of the gaming community. Give me free stuff.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Now I have to listen to Captain Entitled talk about how he demands free stuff all the time.
All right,
Well, that is why he's here.
Captain,
No.
if you could for us, please set up the background, because we all know you feel you deserve free stuff, but what is this particular situation in which you have been wronged?
Yes,
Well,
explain.
So we all know that Skyrim is the modder's paradise. You can get anything from horse genitals to Alyssa Milano trees, and this is like the basis of Skyrim. So it's a relatively old platform, but it's still very much alive. It's making Bethesda money, even more money now, because now they're charging me money for my horse genitals. So, which used to be free. And if I chose to, I could donate. There's really no need. I mean, part of the part of like Steam's spin on this is that it supports the modders. But it supports them. It's a pittance, 25%.
So what you're telling me is they took away the ability for you to feel like you're a very generous soul by donating.
Well, yes, and I feel like I don't feel like a unique special snowflake anymore, because now I have to pay for things, and I find that
he's a special snowflake.
Yeah, I find that distasteful.
But
you're not wrong. It's kind of distasteful to have to pay for things.
But no, there's several issues with it. My main issues with it, of course, the cut. Steam defends itself by saying that the developer, in this case Bethesda, decides the cut. And so the bottom line is that it's 25%. Some people have, brought up the point that there is actually a return policy, which is something new for Steam. They have 24 hours. If the mod doesn't work, or if you don't like it, you can return it. There's also issues of intellectual property, people stealing things, borrowing things, having mods that are inspired by. How do you manage that? In the end, it's more or less a mess, and I think it's an idea that it's probably inevitable, but I just think it's poorly implemented.
Well, for clarification on the cut, is it 25% goes to the modder and 75% goes to the Bethesda?
There's a cut. It's something. I think it's 45%. I'm just guessing. I have it.
So Entitled came on the show without the math.
I don't need math. I just I'm good at it.
He tells you how it is, bro. It's good.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so 30% to Valve, 45% to Bethesda, via this Forbes article by Mr. Paul Tassi.
Wow.
Forbes.
Okay, so only 25% goes to the actual modders themselves.
Correct. And if you go on Steam, you can see several mods. I'm looking at a sword. It's the Yasha sword. I think that's is that something you guys know about?
Nope.
I do. I know about the Inuyasha sword.
Yes. It's not Inuyasha. This is Yasha.
I don't know anything about that.
Apparently, I think it's from. Hi guys. So it's from Dota lore, and it costs 49 cents. It's 49 cents.
Wow.
So if we do the math on that, that is not. What is that? Is that approximately one pittance? Is that a pittance?
I think it's about one pittance. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it? I'm gonna actually do the math on that right now, because yes, it's 12 pittances, 12.25 pittances. And a pittance is a cent. So for that modder, for every sale, he gets to make 12.25 cents.
Two things. One might argue that number one, that is 12.25 cents he wouldn't have gotten before at all. And number so like he's still plus. All right, he's still plus overall.
Okay.
The other thing someone might argue is that he wouldn't have been if the game didn't exist and Valve didn't exist and Bethesda didn't exist and Skyrim didn't exist. If that company had not made that game, he wouldn't have anything to mod at all. Do you think his little bit of coding matters more than the game itself and the coding that was put into that?
Right. Like Bethesda could lock their shit down and not let you mod at all. You could not mod any Skyrim. They're nice enough to let you see some of their source code so that you can do mods to it.
But in the end, I think this is just a way of Bethesda milking it by allowing this. When did Skyrim come out? I have no idea. I should probably have looked that up.
I don't know.
2000, was it 10?
Like 1985, I think.
1875? I mean, this is an old game. They didn't have so it's probably like several, centuries old, and they've been making money off it. And granted, this is very this is very kind of them, but there's now they're making more money off of like outsourced development teams, which are modders.
Yeah, those people have the right to also not do that. If they're not happy with it, they can feel free to not mod Skyrim.
It's
not Bethesda's fault that people still want to mod their game, and they can now make money off of it.
Roby, logic has nothing to do with his argument, and I feel like you're really coming about like you can't. He's entitled. Sir, don't you understand?
I'm entitled.
He's entitled.
I do understand.
Obviously not. Obviously
it's like
not.
angry dad mode right now. I'm about to tell him how he is. Sit your ass down, son.
Let me explain how the world works to you. Well,
yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
I understand that it's a giant cluster, and that's really I think that's really what the biggest problem is. Like, everyone's trying to pretend it's something else, but the biggest problem is that it doesn't work right. I think that if it came out and worked right, everybody would have less of an issue with it. But then again, I don't know. There's a lot of gamers that are entitled and they're looking for something to be angry about in general. But I feel like a lot of gamers these days feel like they have the right to all kinds of more shit than they realistically do.
They're legitimately entitled, man. I mean, what can we do about that?
Well, they're cutting their arms off.
They're entitled to free pain.
Right.
Cenobites, where are they at?
There's also the trend, though, and granted the games have grown much more complex, much more massive. I just downloaded from the Steam sale, Shadows of Mordor, and that was 42 gig. So this is, this is not like, your 8-bit games.
Right.
That, it's I would say it's, by a magnitude of 1 million times more harder to make, takes more work to get these games to work. And so I can understand the trend of releasing things and then releasing DLC.
Right. Well,
yes,
but the thing is that DLC is guaranteed to work with the platform that it's, with the game.
Right.
Mods are not DLC. Mods, it has to be. It's I think maybe a subcategory of DLC, but you can't sell it. It's like like a knockoff bag, a Louis Vuitton knockoff bag. It looks the same and it functions the same, but it is not the same. So you really can't take it. I mean, anyone that's tried to mod, I'm sure when you put two mods together, sometimes they don't work. And then it's like even a 24-hour return period is I don't think is sufficient. It's not enough time to. That's a Band-Aid.
Dude, here's the thing. This is a buy at your own risk. It was a black market before, where you could theoretically donate instead, right? So the modders weren't getting any money before because they were just putting it up there because they made it and they're like, I want people to think I'm cool. So they put it up on the internet so people can take it for free and to tell you how cool you are, and maybe donate some money. Now they have a place they can get some money on a consistent basis whenever anyone downloads their mod, and it will make them do better work in order for people to buy their shit. If you want to make sales, you got to make good mods.
I think another really large problem here is licensing. The thing about DLC content is that it's licensed, trademarked, all that good stuff by the company who created it in the first place. Created the initial game. So what you have here is a lot of people who don't have licensed content, don't have any rightful claim per se. They do technically speaking, or actually they do in spirit, but not technically speaking. They don't like, because they don't, it's like, hey, that's my code. Says who? Says you?
Yeah.
That's not going to hold up in a court of law. So this is why you're having these like issues with people stealing this code and stuff, because they can. They can just say, oh yeah, this is mine.
Clearly, I'm the one that made this.
Yeah.
It also begs a question of just general problems with copyright. I mean, just as a larger issue, copyright is people sneaking in and picking up old patents and then suing companies because they hold the patent. They're exploiting. They're basically exploiting old patent law that needs to be taken care of because it's turning into this big litigious nightmare. And the same thing's happening here though.
Yeah, well, the average modder can't afford licensing and going through official channels to get this stuff approved.
True.
Like in reality, if if Bethesda really and Valve ostensibly really wanted to support the modder community, they need to just buy the code directly from the modders.
No, I disagree with you.
Yeah?
I think that Steam, if they want to do this as a permanent way, what they do is they grandfather all the current existing mods in as like it is whatever it is. These ones are free mods. But in the future, any mod that you want to make, you register with Steam. And once you're registered on Steam, that's where they keep track of your code. The first person to register this code is the guy who owns this code. So
that's not the way it would work. The way it would work is if you're registering with Steam and you're doing it through Steam and Steam's, Bethesda's keeping track of all this, they're going to say, that code's ours. Like, you're writing it, but it's ours.
Oh, they would take ownership of it.
Yeah.
Bethesda?
Yeah. That's. I'm just saying, realistically, that's the way it would actually work.
Why would Bethesda want to take control of a mod that makes Alyssa Milano, makes all the trees in Skyrim look like Alyssa Milano naked? I don't get it. Like, they
it's
wouldn't
not
want
it's
that.
not. You say that, but like if
who's going to say that?
If they're going to monitor this code and make sure that it belongs to this guy, that's a service they're rendering, and they're just going to.
That's the service that Steam is rendering. Yes.
Right, and they're just going to say, you know what, that code's ours. That's the way it would work out. I'm almost sure of it. Like
that Steam's going to say that code's theirs.
Bethesda specifically.
Why would Bethesda?
Or
well, that's like a. Yeah, but they're not registering it with Bethesda. They're registering it with Steam, who is the go-between between Bethesda and the modder, who would then worry about the financial, like, okay, he sold this many at 50 cents or whatever, so this much gets cut over to the Steam, or it's cut to Bethesda, and that much gets cut to the modder or whatever. But if they wanted to keep track of it and keep people from stealing it, they need to grandfather everything that currently exists, and don't worry about it anymore.
Right.
You can't say we can't register anything that currently exists in the modding community now. Everything that's there now cannot be registered as code to be sold. And if you want to mod something else in the future, we register it with us, and then they keep track of it. They have to be the legal entity, so to speak, for settling disputes between whose code was first and whether or not this code is close enough to be exactly the same as the other mod or not. They have to be those people, and the problem is that's going to take a large number of people to manage all of that.
Right, exactly.
Drive the cost of everything up as well because of that.
Yeah. And so it's going to have to cost money at some point.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's what it comes down to. Regardless, it's going to have to cost money, and those people who are entitled, Captain.
Yes, I'm here.
Are going to have to pay. That's just the only way to get a quality mod out in a way that they're trying to do it.
Well, okay, just make sure that you know who I am, Captain Entitled. Does this actually improve the quality of the mods? I mean, the nature of the modding community. I'm speaking mainly of Skyrim and my only other really experience with Kerbal Space Program. These communities are supportive of each other. I would say collaborative is the best way to put it. People work on each other. They work on each other's mods. They take over when someone gives up a mod. Someone takes over the management and the maintenance. Like, are you mods are inspired by others? They use code or code or models from other mods. Is that going to destroy that? is it going to take? Is it going to turn the mod? It's going to turn it from collaborative to competitive? I don't think it's going to improve the quality.
So
I mean, I don't want
worried.
anyone taking my 25 cents. I need my 25 cents.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it like that, I could see where your argument is it going to turn A against B a lot and change the community completely?
By the way, I read that on the internet.
Oh, did you know?
It's not actually my opinion. I just processed it.
You found it first before we did, so you're entitled to say it as if it was your own.
As if it was your opinion. You're an American, man.
Thank you.
I made this.
Right.
Yeah, and you can get your lawyer to prove me that I didn't actually make this.
Yeah.
Like somebody hands you their opinion. This is my opinion. I made this, and you hold it, you look at it, and you say, "I made this."
I'm holding it now. I made this.
But I'm gonna buy the rights.
Guys, I got to ask you the question: How up to date are you on copyright law? Because I know very little. I know it's got a little C, and there might be a TM, and I know that if you break it, you get in big trouble. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Enough to fake it.
Well, the reason why I ask is because part of Steam's structure for this whole mod selling deal is that if you see someone infringing upon your copyright or your IP, they have a takedown notice, or they have a page where you can input. It's like a help. You can put like a help ticket. Hey, this guy's stealing my stuff. But there are people out there that are really good at exploiting and finding loopholes. It sounds like in order to be effective as a modder, I would need to be vigilant with watching and waiting for someone to try to steal my stuff. So, do I need a lawyer? And
you would almost have to have a lawyer at that point.
Yeah, either that or become an expert in copyright law. That's another issue there. So.
But even then, trying to continue your mod while enforcing the copyright law of again kind of negative towards your product, you can have time to do that.
Exactly.
Well, here's the difference, though, of the free modders as opposed to the paid modders. Paid modders, at least, they have something in the sense of a lawyer or a legal system to go through if somebody's ripping them off. Otherwise, the free modders don't have that. They can try and publicly shame them, but that's the extent of it. Well, they're just screwed otherwise.
Well, the free modders are still there's no money involved in it.
And that's why they don't have no recourse to fight against people who are stealing or using their code without permission.
Yeah, but isn't that the basis? Like, why would they fight it? If they're using it free and they want to keep the free community, then why do they care if someone else uses it? Isn't that kind of what the whole thing's about?
Using it's one thing, but claiming.
Oh, okay, yeah, claim. Yeah, I gotcha.
Like, there is no recourse for that if you're a free modder. But if you're a paid modder, at least you have legal, abilities.
Right. I don't think this is something that Storm or Steam just came up with on their own. Somebody must have had a different idea about it as well. And I'm positive that some of the modders at some point want to get paid for what they do. Because it's a lot of work to do updates to your mods and change it when a new version of the game comes out or whatever. You got to make all these different updates, and there's a lot of demand from entitled people that, why haven't you already fixed your mod or whatever? Well, why don't you pay me to do it so that I don't have to work my regular day job, so I can stay home and fix the mod for you whenever you need it fixed or whatever.
You used to see a lot of that on the Minecraft servers and stuff like that when people would make texture packs. They'd always say they would make a texture pack every single time that there was an advance come out, and if you forgot or you waited a week, even though it takes a while to build those things, people just capped it entitled. They wanted it immediately upon release.
Yep.
Right. They can't play their game right now. I mean, I can't play my game right now.
I want my free download immediately upon release.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even that they couldn't play it. They just can't play it with the pretty textures they want.
Right.
They could still play it. But, yeah. So, I don't know. I think modders, if Steam wants to do this, they need to set a go-forward policy. Anything that's currently on the Steam mod site, it's grandfathered in. You cannot use that code for anything. And
that makes the most sense, I think. It's just there needs to be an independent body managing this
Right. And that's what Steam is. That's what they've always been. Is an independent body that manages like sales between big companies and little people.
Yeah.
And now they're gonna do it between modders and the people who are allowing their games to be modded. And they're just got to be in charge of registering the code and being like, okay, your code is too close to this current mod that we already have, so you can't register it or whatever.
Well, maybe they could do like a revenue
royalty,
split
yeah,
between those two modders.
Yeah.
Just to go slippery slope on you guys, just throw some fallacies in here just for fun. When is this going to turn into the Android Flappy Bird, game app store? How soon is like the same mod? It's not Star Trek, it's Star Trek. It's not Star Wars. It's Space Wars. How close can I get to this very successful mod and try to exploit that? Is that going to happen in Steam?
I think it's already there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it already exists. I think we might get further away from that if people were forced to register their code, and there was somebody keeping track of like comparing it to one another. I think you're going to see less of that rather than more of it.
And good.
I was going to say, I think you're going to have like, you might just end up with like less mods in general doing it this way, and I think it's probably the best solution, but I also think it's anytime you start putting restrictions on anything, you're going to have less of it. And I think that's the way it's going to run if you do this, this registry thing through Steam. The only reason why I say that is because, people are going to be like, well, I made this cool sword mod, and the other guy's like, well, I want to make a sword mod too, so I'm going to use your code, but I'm going to put in different textures and a different look for the sword. And all of a sudden he can't do it because the base code is too similar. So you're not going to see, all these different swords necessarily.
It has to be different enough from each other.
Right.
Well, there's reverse engineering has been happening in the computer world for a long time. So that's a backdoor. In the end, as an entitled person, I don't mind. I don't mind giving money to the modder, but that's my choice. I choose. Whether, and I don't want Steam to set that how much I should give them. Maybe it's $5, or it should be $100, or it should $2.99, whatever it is. But I want to decide that myself.
But ultimately, you're not giving money to the modder. Well, you are, but you're giving most of it to Bethesda and to Valve.
Right.
You got to think about it like donating to a charity. Sure, a portion of your money is going to go to what the charity's about, but most of it's going to go to the corporation.
Right. Well, and that's my that's part of my problem. Besides not
to the nonprofit. So relies on everybody being a good person and not an entitled asshole who will just take it for free and not donate any money to them.
My ears are burning again.
I'm like,
you trying to say something?
I just wonder if we can get some numbers somewhere on like how many times popular mods were downloaded versus how many times anyone donated.
Well, I want to bring up another point real quick on this specific issue. I have donated to modders, and I have not received a single thanks. And
that is part of the problem.
That offends me that I've not received at least a thank you.
Right. Modders are bad people.
The mod and loving the mod, and they're doing great work. But if I donate 50 cents, how long does it take to write thank you?
Modders are assholes.
I wouldn't say assholes, but I mean, it's like there's some etiquette that we could, get brushed up on.
Modern etiquette school.
A thank you for me taking 10 seconds to go to PayPal and donate. I mean,
we'll make that part of the
or just clicking the button.
Registry.
Right.
We'll make that part of the registry system where when you get your code registered, you also have to go to mod etiquette school.
Yes. And just make sure it's a personal thanks to anyone who might have used your mod or has donated to you. Then I think that's a system for Steam to use.
I'm just gonna write a Steam mod that just sends you an automatic thank you. Whenever you press the donate button.
That could be an infinite line of thank yous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Like you have to thank you for thanking the mod, and then you use the mod, so you get another thank you. So thank you.
You could make that, and then have that be a payable mod, and then all these people who are moderators would buy it so they can apply it. I don't know. You might have a little moneymaker right there.
And then you just make sure that it just email bombs the person who donates. It just
like 50 email, yeah.
Yeah, like millions of emails, whatever.
I also want to write a mod that like it's a cool mod, does something else, but also in the background it just re-donates your 50 cents from PayPal every time you use the mod. Like, every time you see a tree in Skyrim, it looks like Alyssa Milano naked. It just cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah. That would be a lot of trees too.
I gotta ask, just to try and give this Alyssa Milano naked tree thing some validity.
Wait, is that a thing?
Are they supposed to be dryads? Wait, isn't it? Is it? You told me it was a thing.
Is it? If it's not, it's my idea. If it's not, it's my idea because I stole it first.
Well, you better go mod that.
You better go mod that right quick, sir.
Oh, yeah. I'll be right back. I have to learn how to mod.
I don't know if that's a thing or not. I don't know, and I don't know if they're supposed to be dryads. And so you can like change the picture files for pretty much anything. So you can make whatever look like whatever you want it to look like.
You know, there's gonna be
You can change the Steel Dagger picture files to be like look like naked Alyssa Milano if you wanted.
You know, if we were really popular, there would be a lot of people looking for like naked Alyssa Milano tree mods right now.
So if
like,
you go to
where is this mod?
That guy would be cashing in, and that guy's me.
If you go to the proper mod site, Nexus Mods, where they have free mods, there's an Alyssa Milano mod, and I have to say, I would not say it looks like Alyssa Milano. So
there is a Jessica Alba mod, and that looks exactly like Jessica Alba.
Oh.
Like exactly like Jessica Alba. I know this because my somebody I know, a friend of mine, saw like all the naked mods you could do on Skyrim. He had never played Skyrim, never played a game like Skyrim, none of the Elder Scrolls games ever. Had never ever touched this stuff. And then he saw the naked mods you could do on Skyrim, and he immediately went out, bought Skyrim, downloaded every mod he could, like read up, like did crazy studies on it. And the next time I came over to his house, he just had naked chicks wandering all over Skyrim in his own like hot springs and naked chicks just hanging out in the pool in the hot springs, and I'm just like, you are ridiculous.
I see the Jessica Alba mod. See, like a picture of it. It is very good. But you see, this creates value for Bethesda. This creates value for Bethesda. Look, a person that didn't even want to play Skyrim now buys Skyrim and downloads the mods. This is creating value.
No, it could also.
If anything, Bethesda owes me. I mean, the modder. They owe the modder more than 25%.
You never know, man. Like, this could also create all kinds of other legal issues. Like, you're using the likeness of Jessica Alba or Alyssa Milano. They might not be okay with this.
This is true. Definitely would not be.
This is when that legal team you've hired is going to come into being.
Yeah, they're gonna be talking to you like, yes, you know what the thing you spent months working on?
You can't do this. You know that, right?
Can't use it. I'm sorry.
That's why, like, just leave the modding community alone. Don't try. I don't know. I personally think it's a bad idea, in general, to try and organize this and try and make. Don't get me wrong. I have nothing against modders making money, but they should just do it through donations, because otherwise you run into a whole menagerie of legal issues and registry issues and just issues in getting this thing organized and set up. I just don't think it's worth the time and effort. Leave the modding community as it is. Not because I think people deserve free stuff, but because
yeah, you do.
It's I have not played Skyrim.
Look! Don't stay out of my zone. I am the entitled one. That's my thing. I am the entitled one.
Well, I just don't think it's worth the time and effort for the company or the modders to have to go through this, especially when some legal suit comes down and just crushes some poor little modder who might have made like $50 off his mod.
Agreed. I think maybe I think Roby's solution is I think instead of grandfathering all the mods, Bethesda and Steam are going to have to go through the top blank percent, 10% of mods. Start there, start small, so they can it'll be easier to manage it, because they have to go through all the mods, look at all the code, look at all the textures that are used. I mean, some of those textures might be copyrighted.
Yep.
And then go from there, and then maybe instead of doing a pay per mod, people can this is a paywall and this is pay to win, and in some ways like have a small subscription fee. And this would pay for the maintenance of the mods and the legal team and whoever else, the extra staff that Steam and Bethesda would need to manage this FUBAR.
Well, and that might not be a bad idea, except for again we're talking about more money at this point, and more money means people like yourself are going to be unhappy. Yeah.
Yes. More money.
More money.
No problems.
But yeah, I don't know. I think in the end there's maybe this is just growing pains, or maybe this is just a failed venture. It's hard to tell, honestly.
No, definitely growing pains. Definitely growing pains. This is undiscovered country right here. Speaking of which, I just watched Star Trek 6. I just wanted you guys to know that. Thank you.
Wow, you.
Why wouldn't you watch a good Star Trek instead?
Yeah.
It's the the Wrath of Khan is of course the best one of them all, but I don't know why I watched it. But anyways, yes, I'm entitled to talk about it right now. So let me let's sit back and relax. No.
Well, let's talk about it.
All right. Do we have anything? Oh, Battlefront. We got to talk about Battlefront.
Yeah.
Speaking of entitled, actually, there are a lot of people who are very angry about the new Star Wars Battlefront 3 coming out. And they're not angry because it's coming out. They're angry because it's coming out with far less, potentially less, almost guaranteed, really, less features than Star Wars Battlefront 2. And they're not happy about it.
Yes, their butthurt is large.
They've got their Furious gear on pretty quick.
Indeed, they did.
I think a lot of... Actually, let me look at this, see if I have that page still up here. I don't. But a lot of... I'll find this page, and it goes through the list of more or less what is not going to... Or, I guess, assumed is not going to be in the game.
In my opinion, the biggest thing is space battles aren't going to be in the game.
Which is really disappointing.
Yeah.
Really, really disappointing.
Well, here's my thing, though. Space battles and land battles are entirely different creatures.
Oh, I agree.
And they're going to be taking a lot of time trying to work on fixing space battles. Because the space battles were in, too, but they weren't great. They weren't fantastic by any means. They were fun. But it wasn't like they were really well done or anything like that. It seemed more like an extra shove-in at the end to just, give it more features because more features is better. But I'm going to miss them, but not that much, I don't think.
Okay, so here's a list of things that will not be showing up. And then I guess we can go through... I'll say what it is, tell you whether or not it's confirmed or not confirmed, and then what you guys think. But first thing is AT-ATs are not pilotable. This is confirmed.
Garbage.
I agree with Captain Entitled.
Now,
what's going on here?
There were never that many battles that had AT-ATs to begin with, and piloting them was always more of a pain in the ass, and it wasn't any good or fun.
Well, look at the damn things. They pretty much can't rotate that easily. You're basically just going to go straight.
You basically just go in a straight line and shoot out turrets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's good to jump in, shoot out all the turrets real quick, and then jump out and rush up and try and take the points or whatever without the turrets all over your face. But that's it. That's all it's really good for. In
general, I don't think AT-ATs are that exciting a vehicle to pilot. I think they're cool to see, and they're visually very impressive, but to actually play them, I don't see it being very exciting.
Yeah, it's not. It's really not.
Okay, the next one is no Clone Wars era.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, okay.
Which means that we're guaranteed to not get a Jar Jar Binks as a hero character, so I'm for it.
I'm okay with that.
I am too. I'm good.
Well, okay, so let's go with what actually directly connects with no Clone Wars era. There's going to be 32 less playable vehicles Now, the list I'm looking at is very misleading.
And it just says 32 less playable vehicles, but does it have like a list of what the vehicles are?
No, and this is not confirmed, by the way. They're assuming this based on what we've seen from like live footage of the game that is like pre-alpha or alpha.
I was going to say, when's it supposed to come out? Because a lot can happen between...
These people need to shut the fuck up.
November 2015. That's from PS4daily.com.
It's
supposed to be
this year.
November. Yeah. So this E3, I think we're going to see a lot more like actual real footage.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
We'd better.
They're saying this has no unique classes. Now, let me tell you that the reason why there's no unique classes is sort of because it has a build-a-class system. As opposed to like specific like Rocketeer or a Rocketer or whatever you want to call them, and then like Foot Soldier or whatever generic name you want to put. So there's no, but it's build-a-class, right? So technically at this point everything's kind of unique, right?
It depends on how deep the trees go and how well they work together. But that could be a very good thing.
And then we do have to run the risk of somebody finding some sort of like best possible combination and everybody just running that, because the internet loves to do that shit for games. They love to, somebody will min-max and do the math and be like, I can consistently get the best output from this particular build, and then everyone will just take that build.
Right.
It happened at World. I mean, that's the reason. One of the reasons I think at World of Warcraft why they ended up going to the like different talents than the way they had it was because everyone was just getting the same talents anyway.
Right.
It wasn't unique or anything like that because everybody got the same talents because these were the best. Nobody felt like they want to play. They just wanted to play like they had to play because it was the best.
I think as long as they balance the game right, I think they should be fine. I mean, like as long as someone with a totally badass machine gun and grenades can't take on an ATST.
Right.
Well,
we'll have to see like where that balance lies at.
You need a rocket.
Is PvP part of this game?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it will be.
So they're going to need to balance it for PvP or PvE, and which is the same mistake that Blizzard made.
Every game makes, yeah.
Every game. These things don't work together.
There's not going to be a campaign mode, so...
There is no campaign mode, yeah.
They might not have much as far as PvE goes.
That's confirmed. No campaign mode is confirmed.
I'm looking at this chart. It says AI players only in one game mode. Maybe that's for something else?
That is not confirmed. AI players are like whether or not there's going to be AI players within like because there are modes where you can fight like in epic like there are AI modes where you're playing just yourself versus the AI. That exists, but there's no campaign per se.
Oh, campaign. Okay.
Yeah,
okay, so
no,
you can do
story.
Practice mode.
Well, you can even. I want to do
even
the Battle of Hoth. You can do that.
Right.
Oh.
What was that Xbox One launch game where you got in the mech suits or whatever? Was that like not Heavy Gear, but
Titanfall?
Yeah, Titanfall. And that one you could set up AI players to play in the PvP and versus. So they were like 5 points instead of killing a player. That was like 35 points. But you could have like 8 or so AI units that the computer just randomly controlled and would attack and kill you, and just add another dynamic to it. So they could do something like that.
Well, that's how it's always been in Battlefront.
Oh, okay.
Because essentially on Battlefront, you're looking at like you step down to the map, and even if you're 32 versus 32, there's still actually like 50 opposing troopers on the map.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, the 50 of your troopers, 50 of theirs. So even if you filled out your game 32 versus 32, they still have 18 AI troopers out there on the map just doing whatever they feel like doing.
Yeah, it was always that way. So again, that particular no AI in certain modes, that's unconfirmed. Nobody actually knows that for certain. They're just saying this because they're butthurt and they're just trying to find like any way they can to slam it. Yeah. Here's another one. Currently 17 less heroes than previous title. Like
because the only one they've shown is Luke
and Darth Vader.
Okay, I don't care about that one.
Yeah.
So these are
playable.
These are playable, or these are like NPCs?
They're playable.
Yeah.
So you can play as Luke.
In Battlefront 2, if you were playing and you were just beating ass, you had the chance to you can spawn as Luke because you're super good. It was sort of like the in COD where they have like you get a 5-kill streak or whatever you can call in the stupid helicopter or whatever. Sort of like that. So if you were doing really good, you could choose to play as a hero for that mission. And then your hero enters the battlefield, and it makes things different. You know?
Oh.
It vastly affects how the outcome of the game at that point is, because you're now a badass, lightsaber-wielding Jedi, or you're Han fucking Solo, or you're Boba fucking Fett, and you're gonna kill people at a considerably higher rate. But you're not invincible by any means.
But you're just significantly more badass than you were.
Significantly more badass. Yeah, Han Solo could basically like one-shot fucking stormtroopers like nobody's business. Just it was ridiculous. But
I'm nodding in approval right now. I like this one-shotting.
And they also had a couple of maps where you could set up specifically just for hero battle, and everybody would just be heroes all the time.
Oh.
Those ones were actually the most fun, I think.
Well, I would probably say, as an entitled person, I would appreciate that the most, because the idea of working for something is against my the way I live my life.
Core beliefs.
The other problem is
my core beliefs. I need it for free.
Everyone else also has it, though.
I don't like that,
so
though.
You're not special.
I don't like that, though.
But here's the key word here. Currently, 17 less heroes.
Right.
So they're making this giant point to say it has less heroes, but they don't know that. And they admit as much with their wording, but yet they feel they have to make a point with it.
And if you cut the Clone Wars out, you are gonna drop a lot of the heroes, because they added a bunch of Clone War heroes that nobody really cares about that much.
Right.
Mace Windu, Count Dooku. Nobody really gives a shit about Count Dooku or Mace Windu.
Yeah.
Darth Maul, who died in the first movie like a bitch. And then all those Jedis that got killed,
oh god.
Every one of them. Conehead dude and fucking Blue Twi'lek chick.
I was just thinking about her.
They have names. I don't remember what their names are.
It's just thinking about worrying.
How badass would? I'm sorry to put this on tangent, but how badass would it be if you had a Wookiee Jedi? I know.
In
but
the
that would
EU,
be really
they have a Wookiee Jedi in the EU.
I know, but in the game, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I would buy it. You know what? I might even receive free DLC for that. Wait, I'm looking at this chart, and this is a game. This is a game journalism website. So, game journalism. Hashtag game journalism.
Hashtag Gamergate.
Yeah, I hope this guy didn't sleep with anybody. But he says that there are 5 planned DLC packs. So things are coming. I think that's the point of this whole thing. They're releasing the bare minimum, and then they're going to sell the rest of the game. $59 plus $5, $10 at a time.
I think that's probably true, but here's the other thing. As far as modes go, 20 versus 20 maximum as opposed to the 32 versus 32, which a lot of people are very butthurt over, and I don't really understand why.
Yeah, because people are going to get on with 31 of their friends and try and run a fucking army or whatever.
Yeah, there's probably the same argument that they had when Blizzard went from 40-man raids down to 20-man. I like having larger battles. I come from Battlefield, where you can have tons of people versus tons of people. So, or Battlefield 1942 and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. How does Battlefield work?
You mean just with that?
No, how well does it work? Because I hear a lot of complaints about Battlefield 4.
Well, I mean, I haven't played Hardline, the new one, but I have been playing Battlefield 4, just a regular one, quite a lot, and I really don't have that many complaints about it. Now, I don't play on the PC community, so that might be different, because there's been a lot of people who've been able to hack and mod and stuff like that, and then you run into server issues and stuff like that. But for the most part, on the console version, it's pretty seamless. I mean, every now and then you'll come across a guy whose latency's bad, but I mean, complaint-wise, the game is fun. The huge battles are fun. I don't know.
How many people?
I think one map we had 40 total, 20 versus 20. We had.
Yeah, that's plenty, right? That still feels like a huge battle, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Especially when you turn that corner and there's 15 snipers all shooting you at the same time. You're just whoa.
That feels like the
It's Battlefield 4 right there for you.
It's like this is like unfair, like just boiled down to its very essence. Like this is unfair.
Yeah, how many snipers are there? They're all snipers.
Yeah. You look on the map and every single one of them's got the little targeting reticle or whatever it's
like,
called.
Yeah.
It's like going into a battleground with nothing but rogues on the other team.
Where is everybody?
And WoW, yeah.
There they are.
They're all rogues. But okay, so I don't understand the complaint about that one either, really. And again, 20 versus 20, it's semi-confirmed in the sense that they're saying that like no one said this is currently the largest or anything like that, but like it's very heavily been very heavily inferred that it's going to be the largest.
Well,
map.
also, they can add more maps later with a higher player count, too. And, I mean, I think what really constitutes, like, if for something that has a lot of players versus another lot of players, what it really comes down to is the size of the map. Like, the map's going to have to be big. Like, that's where Battlefield, I think, actually wins out, is because their maps are huge. So you can still do, 20 versus 20 or 25 versus 25, or even sometimes, I think they have a maps like 40 or even 50, but it's like, it's so big that you're still by yourself and you can still do things by yourself. You're not constantly running into people, which I think is good.
So the next one is only 4 planets, which is 12 less than the last game. This is a bit misleading because the 4 planets have, I believe, 3 to 4 maps on each planet, as opposed to like the 1 to 2 maps on 12 different planets.
Right. And the other different planets are just reskins anyway, so who really cares that much? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and there was a lot of planets that you just didn't give a shit about, like Machina. Who the fuck? What the fuck happens on Machina?
Nothing.
Nothing of importance.
But I feel like this is a bit misleading because really what you should be looking at is maps and not planets. I think that's silly.
Right.
And it's
Exactly. It's Battlefield, so create maps, or not Battlefield, but it's Battlefront. Create maps.
Yeah.
All right, and this one is this is the only one that I'm truly sad about, and for 2 big reasons. But no space battles.
Sad.
And no seamless ground to space battles either. Well, now let me tell you why this is particularly bad. It's particularly bad. A few of these things are bad because the alpha footage, leaked alpha footage, mind you, of this game had ground to space battles. It had like a bunch of different vehicles. It had all this other stuff that seemingly has been cut, but nobody can confirm for certain. I say that no, this stuff has existed since alpha, and it's just going to be given to us later as DLC. That's my guess.
Seamless ground to space battle seems way too complicated.
It does, but the alpha did have it. There are shots of the alpha, having it. Now, whether or not that's something.
How are we saying at the alpha? I didn't really just see these shots, maybe. Because maybe people interpret it as seamless ground to space battle, and that's not really what it was.
The shots were somebody taking off on an X-wing from the planet, and then going into a space battle. Like, there's no loading screen.
Did he fight anybody on the ground?
No, not necessarily, but I don't see why he couldn't.
Well, but if there's nobody there to fight on the ground, then it's not really a ground battle and space battle at the same time.
Well,
You're just leaving from the planet instead of a hangar on a ship. You're leaving from a hangar on a planet. Essentially, it's the same thing.
That's not to say that it wasn't there. It just looked like it was there.
Right. So I'm saying, with the assumption that it was there, it seems.
But why would they leave from a planet? Like, why would they leave from a planet if they? Well, I don't know. My point is,
because maybe one of the battles of Hoth could be, that space battle where you fly in their X-wings out of the Hoth. Yeah. There's plenty of times they launch space fighters off the planet.
Yeah, but why? If you're gonna have a space battle, why do that? Like, have somebody fly? I don't know. Anyways, point is I think the alpha showed that it was possible, or the potential of it at the very least. And everyone's kind of butthurt because it's not going to be there. And I'm like, this is leaked alpha footage, guys. You don't know. Maybe they tried this, and they're like, you know what? This is actually not going to work with 20 people, 40 people on a map.
Right.
This is silly. It's not going to work for whatever technical reason, and then they cut it. So I mean, a lot of people are looking at what some of the leaked alpha footage offered and are butthurt because a lot of that stuff got cut. But that's how games work. Things get cut. It's how it happens. So, I mean...
It's life.
Well, they get cut for various reasons. Money, time, and I think oftentimes just coding just not working out or being as high quality as it should be. And getting
firing your lead designer and lead story writer.
Yeah, for instance. Yeah.
But are we still on that?
It's just a cheap little punch at this point.
You got to get it in there, man. Got to get that dig in there.
Let me say this though, Roby. I'm gonna say this because even though I am excited for Battlefront 3, I liked Battlefront 1 and 2, but I was never a ginormous Battlefront fan, and certainly not as large as a fan as you are. So, figuratively and literally. So.
Wow. That's below the belt.
That's what we're doing, fat jokes. Now we're doing fat jokes, guys.
I didn't say anything. Maybe you're just really tall.
That's what we've got here.
Maybe
now.
you're just really
all right.
You're taller than I am.
No.
That's all I meant. You're taller than I am.
Finish your passive-aggressive sentence.
Please, we're all waiting.
Forward. No. Overhyped, underdelivered.
You know what? It is a console game, so...
It's EA.
Preach the gospel of all console games are overhyped, underdelivered.
It's gonna happen.
Might well be the same case. It'll make me sad, but it's probably going to be true.
Well, and in the end, nobody really knows how the game plays, and I feel like if it plays well, then a lot of these things can be forgiven. If the gameplay is fantastic and just a notch above.
To be decided. To be seen later.
Yeah. But that's all I had on that. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add about.
I'm not entirely sure how long we've been doing this.
A while.
Talking?
About an hour.
Oh. All right. Well, I think we arrived at that part of the show where you thank me for being your guest.
We're not going to do that.
I'll wait.
Actually, we have another guest that's, we're kind of out of time. I guess no. Scarlett Johansson's going to have to wait. She's not gonna, we just don't have enough time this time.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Our apologies to Scarlett Johansson. We'll definitely get you on next week.
We bumped ScarJo, so you could be entitled and be on this show.
I was only on the show because I thought I could meet Scarlett.
Now you're out of time.
Well, I'm going to go to some internet forum and
complain.
Angrily fume.
Voice your opinions.
Yes. No, but seriously, thank you for having me. And as always, it's enjoyable to talk with you guys, and to have learned a couple of things, and I appreciate the time.
All right, thanks for joining us, Captain.
Thank you.
Captain.
Thank you for thanking me.
We know it's super important to you to be thanked, so you would not want to be on that list of people who did not properly thank you.
Right. I'll wait for the mod.
All right. Well, let's take us out, Ryan.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for our 100th episode, our milestone episode. We never thought we'd ever get to this far, but here we are. Join us next week for our 100th episode, our milestone episode. And, if you liked it, leave a like, subscribe, all the above, all the things people normally say at the end of this about plugging various different things. Look us up on Google, find everything we are, and like everything we do. It's just the way it is. And if you don't like it, it's too bad. You're wrong, clearly. And have a good night.